First, the Arizona Cardinals, now the New England Patriots. 2 weeks back-to-back that the Steelers team have lost to bad football teams. I understand Mr. Trubisky is a starting quarterback with this team. It should be Mason Rudolph. Mr. Trubisky is terrible. He is horrible. I never want to see him play another game with this team. But last week is abysmal, and it was abysmal this week as well. The Patriots look better prepared this week. In the first half, this Steelers defense allowed 21 points to a Patriots team that did not score last week. They did not score a single point last week. They lost to the Chargers 6-0, one of the worst defensive units in the NFL. Lock this unit down. But instead, this team comes out and they have 21 points put on them at halftime. The most points that they have allowed in the first half since 2020 against the Cleveland Browns in that AFC wildcard game. I'm done with this team, and they're done too. No way that you're going to be able to win many football games with Mr. Trubisky at the helm. He's terrible, and the defense is too banged up. The linebackers with this team, they're decimated. You don't have Cole Holcomb. You don't have Quan Alexander, which begs the question, why in the hell are you running man coverage on Ezekiel Elliott, who seemed like he was just the second coming of the next best running back in the NFL? 7 catches for 72 yards and a receiving touchdown. He hasn't looked this good since he was with the Dallas Cowboys a couple of years ago. He didn't even look this good last season with the Dallas Cowboys. He was giving the Steelers that work in the first half. In the second half, the Patriots did not score a single point, to the credit of the defense in the second half. But this is what happens when you come in the first half. You can't get things going. The offense was abysmal. It was dreadful. The lack of adjustments in quarters have hurt this team for the last few years, and it continues to happen. Tomlin will get the pass because a lot of the players are hurt, but he has come out unprepared 2 weeks now. There was no reason that this team should have lost that Cardinals team last week. They were moping around in that game, and they played around. They lost to a bad Arizona Cardinals team, and he just lost to a bad Patriots team as well. One of the worst offensive units in the NFL. Hunter Henry looked like the second coming of Rob Gronkowski. He had 2 receiving touchdowns in this game. DeMonte Casey in coverage is just horrible. He got mossed by Juju Smith-Schuster, and he let up that second touchdown to Hunter Henry. Even though it was zone coverage, he was right there. You were right there. Then you look at Juju Smith-Schuster. 4 catches, 90 yards. He hasn't had a game like this since he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. And he's not a true number 1 wide receiver. If that guy is giving you problems in the first half, you're going to have a lot of problems for the rest of the season. And Mr. Trubisky is just horrible. Terrible. A horrible quarterback. I understand this team allowed 3 touchdowns to Bailey Zappi in the first half, but like I mentioned before, in the second half, they played better. This was with Alex Highsmith out for majority of the game. He went out due to a neck injury. Hopefully he will be okay in the long term, and I have my prayers out for him. TJ Watt was dealing with some weird things early in the game. He got kneed in the face by Ezekiel Elliott on a freak play when Minka Fitzpatrick blew up the run game. But you look at Mr. Trubisky, 190 passing yards. Most of that was in garbage time when it was 18 seconds left. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. This kid is terrible. He's horrible. I never want to see him play another game with this team. But knowing Mike Tomlin, he's going to give him another chance. Just like how he gave Matt Canada all those years to mess up this Steelers team. I am sick and tired of Mr. Trubisky, and I understand it's easier said than done to put Mason Rudolph out there. You have to go behind the scenes with this. Mason Rudolph is majority of the time with scout team. He's not getting the first team reps, but I saw enough of Mr. Trubisky last season. Let's not just act like last season didn't happen. He's terrible. It's the reason why the fans were crying for Kenny Pickett to come into the game. Points in time through this game, they were booing Mr. Trubisky, and they said, we want Mason. Everybody wanted Mason. That fan base isn't the only one, because the people that had to sit up here and watch this game like me were begging for Mason Rudolph after the 3rd drive because Mr. Trubisky is that terrible. I don't understand how a player can continue to get chance after chance after chance. He's trash. The Bears rushed on him with the 2nd overall pick. He's not a good quarterback, and he's not a good backup. He's a 3rd string at best. That's what he is. And maybe Mason Rudolph won't be that much better, but Mason Rudolph has been with this team for years. For years, he was the backup quarterback when Big Ben was with this team. He's the only quarterback besides Big Ben and Terry Bradshaw to have 300 passing yards in a game and 2 passing touchdowns. He could come in here and he could do some things with this team. Mr. Trubisky's accuracy is horrible. He can't read NFL defenses. And just to be completely honest, he's just a quarterback with decent mobility that can run around with a solid arm. That's it. They don't know how to get George Pickens involved, and he was getting locked up at points in time today against Jonathan Jones. But when he was getting open, Mr. Trubisky didn't see him. It was a lot of times that he was getting open across the middle of the field. Then the kid just said, man, you know what, man, I'm just done. He just checked out of the game. You look at Deontay Johnson. He did come away with a touchdown catch in this game, but I feel bad for George Pickens. This is 2 years in a row you're dealing with horrible quarterback play. Kenny Pickett wasn't great with this team, but he was better than what showed up today with Mr. Trubisky. The thing is with Kenny Pickett, I mentioned it before earlier this week, he's not going to turn the football over. You may not get those big, deep shots down the field, but at least he's going to keep you in the game. Early in the game, Trubisky didn't even keep this team in the game. The second leading wide receiver was Jalen Warren for 4 catches of 29 yards. Bill Belichick and crew basically choked off the run game, said, Mitch, go out there and beat us. Mitch Trubisky did have a rushing touchdown in this game for 30 yards, but it doesn't amount to much. He had a horrible game. Terrible. It was 2 out routes in this game to where Deontay Johnson got wide open and Trubisky overthrew him, or he just didn't see him on the second one. It's just ridiculous. George Pickens should not just have 5 catches for 19 yards on the day. Allen Robinson had 1 catch for 21 yards. That came late in the game when it was 18 seconds left, and it was the last play of the game. This team is done, and this may be Mike Tomlin's first losing season with this team. And like I mentioned before, it's not a fire Mike Tomlin situation. I actually like Mike Tomlin. You have a lot of Steelers fans that they either really love him, they like him, or they hate him. To me, I just hate the excuses that he gets. That's all. That's all, man. This team hasn't won a playoff team. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016, and I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it. But he definitely doesn't have the right quarterback with this team. You have the weapons, but you look at this team right now, they're 7-6. They're in the thick of things to make the playoffs. And even if they did make the playoffs, they weren't going to make any real noise. But especially with Kenny Pickett being down right now. If they don't make that change at the quarterback position, they're definitely not going to be anywhere, for sure. And Mike Tomlin is one of the most stubborn head coaches in the NFL, so they're not going to get things done. My problem with Mike Tomlin is this. You haven't had a coordinator around the NFL that came from the Steelers to catch fire. Usually teams are trying to go out there and find the next coordinator. They'll take coordinators away from teams. And Brian Flores has been that guy. He's been a very good defensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings. He was with this staff. He was out there putting in work with them. The problem that I have is the offensive things. You hired Randy Fichtner, who was horrible. You let Matt Canada be the offensive coordinator for years. That's continuing to put this team back. And the biggest fear that I have with this team moving forward, if they go out and they give Kenny Pickett 1 more year and they bring back Mr. Trubisky with a brand new offensive coordinator and they're in the same spot. This is years of this offense being abysmal. Even the last season with Big Ben, the offense was abysmal, but he was giving it everything that he had towards the end of the game. It's just ridiculous to go out there and look like this against 2 bad teams when you have the better roster on both days. And that's no offense to the Arizona Cardinals, and that's no offense to the Patriots. But there's a reason why the Patriots only had 2 wins coming into this game. 2 wins. I just saw the Los Angeles Chargers with one of the worst passing defenses in the NFL match up very well with that team. But yet this team was not able to, with names like Mika Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt on the field, Patrick Peterson. And you're not able to go out there and just stop them in the first half. In the second half, they played better. But you know, when this team had 21 points put on them in the first half, it was pretty much over with. The fan base was pretty checked out at the stadium anyway. So the future of this team is pretty bleak. I think they're going to miss the NFL playoffs. I just don't believe in Mr. Trubisky. Mike Tomlin can go out here and make the same rah-rah speech, do whatever that he wants to do. They're dealing with so many injuries on the defensive end at that linebacking spot. They're just decimated right now. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about this team, and can they turn things around, and can they still make the playoffs? The most interesting question I pose to you guys, will this be Mike Tomlin's first losing season with this team? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.